The Twilight Registry. Case file TR 2026-06-1 file LS71. What follows is a reconstruction from field notes, photographs, and a partial incident report filed by State Bridge Inspector Carla Hennessy on the afternoon of her last documented survey assignment. Her field recorder was recovered from the site 3 days after she stopped responding to agency calls. The audio on the recorder has been reviewed by the registry. The relevant portions are transcribed here. Maren's Bridge is a small stone span on County Road 7 Bravo, carrying a one-lane farm road over Shepherd Creek in a stretch of low hills that most county MIPs identify as unincorporated. The bridge is listed in state infrastructure records as a 1941 construction, stone and mortar arch, low traffic, annual inspection category. It is not a notable structure. Carla Hennessy had inspected it twice before, once 3 years prior, once the year before that, and had never flagged anything beyond routine repointing recommendations. On the afternoon in question, she arrived at 1:15 p.m. and began her standard underspan survey. She worked her way along the north abutment, then crossed the creek bed to the south abutment. The creek was low. The day was clear. She noted a section of mortar on the south underside that appeared to be a significantly different age and composition from the surrounding stonework. Smoother, denser, slightly lighter in color. The section measured approximately 4 feet wide by 3 feet tall, positioned just above the waterline, facing downstream. Her field notes read, "Anomalous mortar patch, south span, downstream face. Color inconsistency suggests different mix. Age inconsistency appears older than surrounding 1941 construction. Recommend further review." The patch was not on any prior inspection record. Her own 2 previous reports made no mention of it. She photographed it. She took 3 core samples from the edge of the patch. Using her hand drill, the surrounding 1941 mortar came out clean. The patch material was harder, significantly harder, and the resistance profile on the drill was wrong in a way she noted, but did not fully describe in her written record. The audio from her field recorder fills in what she omitted. The audio begins mid-sentence. Not bonding to the stone the way old mortar does. It's bonded to something behind it. There's a void. She tapped the patch with a survey hammer. The sound was, as she recorded, not the flat knock of solid material against stone, but a brief, complex resonance, hollow, but not simply hollow. She described it, after a pause, as hollow with something in it. Standard protocol for a structural void discovery requires she report the anomaly to her supervisor before taking any further action. She called. She reached voicemail. She left a message. She then spent approximately 22 minutes outside the vehicle before she began to remove the patch. The registry notes this decision without judgment. Carla Hennessy had been a bridge inspector for 16 years. She was, by every professional account, rigorous and methodical. What she found, documented on the field recorder, follows. The patch came out in pieces. It was approximately 4 inches thick. Not structural, not integral to the span, more like a plug. Behind it was a space. The space was deeper than expected. Her flashlight confirmed the dimensions. Roughly 8 feet deep, 6 feet wide, 5 feet tall. A room below the road, inside the stone. The room was furnished. The field recorder picks up Carla's breathing first, then a long silence. Then, very quietly, the click of her flashlight switching to the wider beam. She described what she saw in short phrases, the way a person does when they are making sure their own voice is still working. A wooden chair, a small table, a lantern on the table, not electric, oil, the glass clouded with age. Against the far wall, a wooden cabinet approximately 3 feet wide, its doors closed. The floor was packed earth, dry, despite the creak a foot below. The walls were the underside of the stone arch, rough cut and close. No moisture marks, no animal intrusion, no cobwebs. Everything dry, everything still. She said on the recording, "Someone built this. Someone built this and then sealed it." She entered the space. She recorded the dimensions by hand. She photographed the chair, the table, the lantern, the cabinet. She noted the wood on the chair appeared to be old, but not rotting. Treated, she said, or simply kept dry long enough to calcify. She photographed the cabinet doors. She opened them. Inside the cabinet were photographs. Dozens of them, sleeved in clear plastic, organized in a hanging file system of the kind used in old offices. She began to remove them one by one and photograph each photograph. The first several were shots of the bridge from the road above, standard documentation angles, the kind any infrastructure agency would produce. She did not recognize the people in some of the shots standing on the road above, but she recognized the context. Inspection photos. The fourth photograph she removed made her stop. It was a photograph of herself. She is standing on the downstream bank of Shepherd Creek, looking up at the south abutment of Maren's bridge. The photograph was taken from approximately 40 feet downstream and slightly elevated, from a position where no one had been standing when she arrived. She was wearing the jacket she is wearing in the recording. Her equipment bag is on the bank beside her. Sweetly, I have listed that moment. I am going to terminally tend to kid. The photograph is dated, in small handwriting on the back, with today's date. She did not immediately leave. The registry notes this as remarkable, but consistent with the accounts it has reviewed from other cases of this type. There is a period, sometimes minutes, sometimes longer, in which the person confronted with the impossible remains in proximity to it, attempting to integrate what they are seeing into a framework that does not shatter completely. Carla Hennessy spent 11 minutes in the room after finding her own photograph. She removed the photographs from the cabinet and counted them. 41 photographs. Each one showed a different person at or near the bridge, on the road above, in the creek bed, under the span. Each was dated The earliest was from 1963. The most recent, before hers, was dated 14 months ago. She could not identify most of the subjects. She recognized two. One was her supervisor. One was a prior bridge inspector. A woman who had retired from the agency 6 years ago, after what her personnel file, the registry has since learned, describes only as a medical leave that became permanent. Carla photographed all 41 photographs and backed out of the room. She did not reseal the opening. She climbed out of the creek bed. She sat in her truck for an indeterminate period. The recorder, left in the space, captured the sound of the creek for the next 3 days before the agency recovered it. In her incident report, filed 3 days later from a location she did not disclose to her supervisor, she recommended that Maren's bridge be flagged for immediate structural review and that the hollow beneath the south span be documented by a team with agency oversight before any remediation work. She noted that the cabinet had contained 41 photographs and that, by the time she left the room, it appeared to contain 42. She did not describe the 42nd photograph in the report. The registry has submitted a formal inquiry to the State Infrastructure Agency. The agency confirms that Maren's bridge is scheduled for inspection. They confirm that no prior record exists of the hollow or the cabinet. They confirm that the inspector assigned to the follow-up survey has been selected. The survey is scheduled for a Friday. The registry recommends the assigned inspector bring a camera. We suspect one has already been brought for them. Case file TR 2020-60615 LF71 remains open. The Twilight Registry.